Okay, so I am here at the booth of Paradox Sports. They are an organization that works with a lot of adaptive athletes, including veterans. And I'm talking with Jen Nam, and she is going to walk us through some of what Paradox Sports has been working on. First of all, how did Paradox Sports get its start?
Our origin story goes back to one of our co-founders, DJ Skelton, who's an Army veteran. And DJ, unfortunately, had a pretty traumatic military accident while deployed in Iraq. And coming out of that, as a veteran who goes through something very traumatic, he faced a lot of physical injuries, to the left side of his body. He actually has a glass eye now, but I think also with that, there's a lot of emotional and mental trauma that goes with going through something like that. And DJ, with the background of, as a kid, spending a lot of time in the mountains and outdoors, he thought through, how can I help my brothers and sisters in arms who are going through really similar journeys? How can we build community and empower veterans and others to lean into the outdoors and really find this healing? It's a national, really sort of set of activities. Even though the organization's based in Boulder, we launched various rock climbing and ice climbing initiatives from Yosemite to Smith Rock, Ouray, and really it's a time and space for everyone from all different kinds of skill levels to just spend time outside. I think really connect with one another, storytell, get to know one another, and I think once everyone puts that harness on, they get tied up to a rope. We're all equals. Gravity is hard for all of us, but I mean, what DJ has built is really this incredible space for us to just share stories and build friendships.
So you have gone on a couple trips yourself. I'm in my personal life have benefited so much from the outdoors and just the mental relief and the physical relief that comes as a part of that. What have you experienced on those trips that has been evidence of that therapy for veterans, whether it be mental, physical, whatever it may be? You obviously talk about community building too along the way. What have you seen with your own eyes in terms of the impact to those people?
Yeah, I think climbing, it just has this almost this transformative power where it's you and this obstacle, it's you and this rock, and when one is at the base of that rock and they're tied in, it's really just how am I going to get myself up to the top of this? And everyone goes about it a different way, everyone has different challenges, but there is just sort of this internal sort of process that happens where you're just testing and risk-taking and figuring out how do I get myself up this with the abilities that I have, and just sort of witnessing that power and that focus and that accomplishment is just, I think it's so powerful and cool to watch. And then even though the climbing is done in an individual capacity, I mean there's a belayer there obviously, but no one is really climbing for that person. There's also this sense of support, everyone who is at the base of the rock that's there is cheering them on in a very positive and supportive way. And so even though it's an individual thing, it ends up becoming this whole community activity. And there's just a sense of irreverence, I think, in that whole experience, and it's pretty awesome.
So what are you hoping to accomplish in the future? What does the future hold for Paradox Sports?
I think similar to other nonprofits, we have had a bit of a hard time with COVID, although, I mean, the pandemic did encourage a lot of people to spend more time outside, but just in terms of fundraising and hitting certain goals, we are moving a little bit slower than we have in the past, and I think we'd love to continue to build our community, get even more people out into the climbing outside in the adaptive community. We'd like to potentially explore other locations and just keep building our trips and figuring out other ways to bring folks in.
Excellent. Now before I let you go, I'm looking at this sign back here and it says "Come Summit the Grand Tetons with us." One of the, if not the best mountain range in the United States, one of. Can you tell us a little bit about this and when is it, what is it, and what does that look like?
Yeah, I believe it'll happen over September 11th weekend. And it's this annual trip that Paradox Sports does, and it's focused on the veteran community because Paradox is really adaptive climbing more broadly. But this trip in particular will be for veterans, and it will be a pretty gnarly couple of days, I think actually several days, where folks will have the opportunity to do some training, skill learning, depending on where they are, and then some of the Grand Teton, which, as you said, is one of the finest mountains. Personally, my favorite mountain range in the United States. I've had the pleasure of climbing this Burley Mountain myself, and really, I think, based off of what I've heard from other people who've been on this trip, there is sort of this transcendence of conquering this major mountain, but then doing it alongside your brothers and sisters where they have a shared context, they have similar history to you. I've been told it's a really powerful experience, and I'd like to go next year.
Outstanding. Well, I'm hoping to go, and I'm hoping to see you there. So thank you, Jen Nam, and love what you're doing with Paradox Sports.
Thank you. Appreciate it.